Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Stern Spiel, episode 12. This is a father-daughter podcast where we talk about politics, pop culture, and all things happening in our personal lives. My name is Veronica.
I am Charlie Stern at New Charlie Stern, and most definitely Veronica's dad. So how's it going this week, Veronica?
It's good. How are you doing?
I'm holding it together. You know, unfortunately, I did have to attend a funeral this morning, which is why we have the formal edition of the Stern Spiel. That's life, too.
That is life. It was for somebody that was very old, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
you know,
Yep.
not that it's like good, but I mean, it's unfortunate part of life.
The life cycle. Yeah.
The sun has not shone in New York for days.
But it is raining, which it has not in a couple of weeks, so that's a positive.
You got to take what you can get, I guess.
Look at the upside, exactly.
I'm feeling good. I was in Toronto this past weekend, which was super fun. I really enjoy that city a lot.
Yeah.
And which is funny because like I feel like I've never thought about Toronto until I was obviously living there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel like I can say I lived there for 3 months this year.
Yes, you can.
So it was nice to go back and just spend some time there. And after a trip, it's always just hard to like readjust to life, reality.
Yeah.
But I feel like now I'm kind of getting there. And I have a very exciting new horizon starting next week.
Okay. How much do you want to talk about that?
I feel like I'll just say this. It's different from what I've been doing, which I'm excited about, but it's still extremely creative and is very similar in terms of like the muscle that I will be using.
Okay, so I'll leave it at that. You know, you set your own boundaries around how much you want to talk about it.
Sure.
And we'll reveal more, I think, as the in the fullness of time here on the Stern Spiel.
Once I like get into the job and like really figure out if I'm any good at it, which I think I will be. But
yeah, I think you'll be good too.
What else has been going on in your life?
So other things going on in my life, I've gotten to more doctor's appointments in the past 6 weeks than I have in probably 5 years. Dentist twice, cardiologist, neurology check-in. You know, I don't know if it's turning the corner. I'm in my late 50s, very late 50s. But you begin to have to take a little bit more of an active role in some of these things. And so that's what's been going on. But no problems I can't manage. Just you got to get in there and you have to be your own advocate for these issues. That's it. And that can be true at a younger age too. Got to tackle it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, I wanted to show you something that I got while I was in Toronto. I feel like I might have shown you this, but I just want to show everybody else. I'm very excited about this. 1 second. I guess if you're listening, this is a visual, so I'll describe it.
I didn't know about this.
So when I was so they have something called Shoppers there, which is like CVS. I don't know. Is it CVS? Yeah. I mean, it's CVS. They're like a little bit bigger, and they also have like really like beautiful like makeup section. It's nice. Yeah. Anyways,
That'd be better than CVS because that place is on its way out here in the
CVS?
United States. Yeah, they're not in good shape.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of Shoppers in terms of like the fact that it's on every corner. Anyways, so I was in Shoppers and I've been needing a new water bottle because the water bottle I have is like this big like jug, like 32-ounce thing. It's just too big. Like I can't carry it with me. So I was thinking about getting a new Owala water bottle, but you know, I'm kind of bored of the Owala. I see this Owala in Shoppers. It's clear, first of all, never seen a clear Owala. It's plastic, which I know there's some controversy over whether plastic or metal is better. Personally, 1 second, I'm just gonna put it down. Personally, I like plastic water bottles. They don't hold the taste of things that came before it as much. And the thing that I love about this water bottle is it's clear. And like, I actually really like to be able to see like how much water I'm drinking. So I picked it up and I've been loving it so far. And I swear to you, I have not drank this much water in a very long time.
That's good for you. Hydration is very important for a variety of reasons. I like plastic because it's a little quieter than metal.
Oh my God. Well, yeah, there's also that. You don't have
Yeah.
the clattering of like
Yeah.
the
The
you know, when you like
clanging of the
clanging.
ice. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
But
Yeah.
something to be aware of is
Yeah.
if you bring one of these water bottles on a plane,
Mm-hmm.
don't open it in the sky
Because
because the water will shoot everywhere.
of the pressurization of the cabin?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I forgot
Okay.
about that little fact, and so when I was on the plane, like I opened it, and then it just like went shooting up, and I was like, "You actually have to be kidding me!"
I
Like
would
it's
not
7
have.
a.m.
I would not have known. So, in other words, it increases the pressure in the air portion of the bottle, so that when you open it in flight, it shoots out. Wow, wow!
Yeah, it's a little tricky little thing.
I didn't know about that. That's
So-
kind of interesting. All right.
It's just a little like word of advice to people if you bring your Owala on a plane.
That's a new one for
Maybe
Annika.
like unscrew the cap a little bit before you open it.
What do we have to talk about today, Veronica?
All right, we got to work on the transitions. You know, we got to work on the transitions. But anyways, it's a big week in pop culture this week. We recorded a little earlier last week, so it was kind of nice
Because
but
there was
also,
something big going on. Now I don't even remember what
I
it
was
was.
going to Toronto.
That's why we
Thursday.
recorded earlier? I thought there was a big thing. Oh, no, the Kamala Harris debate. What was it? There was
No, I'm
some-
pretty sure we recorded because I was like, I'm going out of town. And
Okay.
I'm not going to be able to record on Thursday.
Gotcha.
Unless
now-
there was something else.
We're back
It
on our
feels so
regular
far
recording cycle.
From today, like last week feels so far away for some reason.
Yeah, because we recorded earlier in the week. So we're back on.
So anyways, a lot has been happening in pop culture. Today's episode is kind of going to touch on pop culture, but also it's going to be a little politically focused because Chappell Roan, who is the kind of it girl singer of the moment,
Mm-hmm.
is in a bit of, I don't want to call it hot water because like, no, it's hot water. So basically, do you know what's going on with her?
Yeah.
Do you want to say it or do you want me?
I can tell you my perception of it is not hot water. She has stated that she's not endorsing a presidential candidate, but that she's going to vote for Kamala Harris.
Okay, so that's your perspective. Let me tell you what TikTok sees.
Okay.
So, Chappell Roan is this new up-and-coming artist, and her whole like thing is that she's like a queer artist, right? She stands for trans rights. Her whole thing is that she like does like this drag persona,
Yeah.
which is like Chappell Roan is her drag persona.
There are elements of drag in her act.
Yes,
But her pronouns are she, her.
yeah, she's not transgender, but like she just stands for a lot of that stuff and like, loves the transgender community, says I'm your favorite artist. That's like Sasha Colby, who is a transgender drag queen. That's her saying. So what she stands for is very like liberal, right? Now, it seems as if she either does not have a publicist or she needs a new one. Because I swear to you, every single week, this woman is coming out with a different quote, and it's just like outlandish. 2 weeks ago, it was, I hope I don't win any Grammys so that I can be done with this. And like, we can all just like go back into our corners of the world and be like, well, that was fun, but like, nobody expects anything of me. Like, there's a lot of expectations on her, right?
Okay.
And all is this to say, to just give you some background, she's also struggles with mental illness. I am 97% sure in her Rolling Stone article, she mentioned she does have bipolar disorder. I could be wrong on what exactly it is, but that's what I read. And so she struggled with her mental illness or mental, being. So that's a layer on top of everything. This past week, I have no idea what the publication is that she was talking to, but she made the mistake of saying that she can't endorse either candidate because they both have problems on both sides.
Yeah.
This absolutely lit up Twitter. They were like, how can a person that stands for this and that, like, not just say the right thing, which would be for these people supporting Kamala. How can you say that? They were like, your Midwest is showing, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay.
And then, so she said that, and then she backpedaled and she put out a video yesterday that was like, or the day before yesterday, and was like, obviously that's not what I meant. I just mean like there's problems on both sides. I don't love it either one, but I'll hold my nose. Like, for lack of, this is not exactly a quote, but she basically said, I'll hold my nose and vote for Kamala.
Okay. May I?
Yeah. Now,
okay.
Let's get into it.
So I'm looking at Chappell Roan through the prism of my own experiences, the Washington Post, the New York Times, to a limited extent, TikTok. But what I see is a very focused, self-determined woman, young woman. I don't see the negative side of it. I honestly think that she is couldn't be more composed in her presentation of this question. And I was particularly impressed because apparently she was invited to perform at the White House at one point and she declined it.
Yes, so that's a thing that happened. I think it was in June. They like invited her for Pride, and she was like, "I'm not coming until you like there's equal rights for all."
Okay, and so you know what? Good for her. And I really felt like if her part of her story is transgender empowerment and you know, I think that she's bringing a breath of fresh air to that whole subject. I really do, because LGBTQ plus, I don't know that much about it, but everything I've heard and spoken to other people about, it's the transgender component of it that is the most troubling, the most difficult fault line in public opinion of these kinds of issues. Transgender people can't handle it. And here's this young woman who comes along and says, I don't want to perform at the White House. I don't want to be your poster child. I don't want to be your prop.
Right.
And in doing so, I think she elevated the entire movement, which I'm not a part of. Ally, not ally, I don't know. I'm just looking at it from a distance, and I'm saying this woman is. It reminds me a little bit of like where gay people were in the 80s with Madonna, a little bit, and that it's just. To me, she couldn't be stronger. She's a cultural phenomenon. I didn't know her a month ago. I found out Phenomenon was the first time I found out about her. I listened to the song one time out of curiosity. I maybe spent 15 minutes scrolling on TikTok. That was about my extent of exposure. But I'm seeing somebody who really honestly connects with a very broad audience. And she's got this political layer, but it's of her own device. It's not manufactured. She's not pandering to anybody. And I can't think of a more mainstream position than what she has said, which is basically, I'm not voting for Trump. She's not Trump. I'm voting for her. Well, and that's it. If you put parentheses around that sentence, she's where most of the people in the United States are.
Well, the problem is she got to that once she got like, so she said one thing, which was, the quote that got taken out of context, which was, they both have a lot of problems.
Yeah.
And people took that, and this is the this is the pitfall of the internet, and truly it will be the downfall of society at this point, is people like don't use critical thinking skills, and they can't put two and two together.
Well, what are they missing?
This is the thing, and like this is the same thing that happened with Taylor Swift. People are like, well, she hung out with a Trump supporter, so she must not think of these things that she's thought all of these years anymore. And it's like, guys, like, come on. Like, we gotta be better than this. Seriously. Like, you have this artist, Chappell Roan,
yes,
who stands for all of these things, right? She says one thing, which is her opinion, which is, I don't like either candidate. Yeah. They both have equal amounts of problems.
Yes.
But let me finish.
And what's wrong with that?
And the internet sees it as, that's not acceptable.
Okay, so what you're picking up on there is the polarization. Okay.
Because the internet is this cesspool of people that are not using critical thinking. you can say something. All she was doing was commenting on something. There are problems on both sides. But what they left out of that quote was, "But I will hold my nose and vote for Kamala." So she had to come out again and make another statement. And the only part of that statement that was smart was that she did it on TikTok so people could see her face and hear her voice intonation. And they still weren't happy with it. Okay. So then she made another video and she mispronounced Kamala's name and got upset and said that there were a bunch of different issues. And then finally was just like, guys, what do you want me to say? I'm voting for Kamala. Like, are you happy?
Yeah. None of that's going to add up to very much. I mean, and I want to lean back on my own experiences when I ran for the Board of Education twice, years ago, usually a long time ago. Internet commentary was just in its escalation phase, okay? Facebook was big, but it wasn't. Twitter wasn't nearly the thing that it is today. And I noticed really early on that Facebook comments on newspaper articles, blogs, things like that, they were like the gutter. They're totally the gutter. And it's where people just unload without thinking about any consequences, without thinking or researching or even knowing facts. So Chappell Roan, it maybe, I don't know if it's that she needs a better publicist. I think that she's still in that golden phase of celebrity development where she hasn't been ruined by a bunch of writers and social media experts surrounding her, and sort of over processing every single thing that she says.
Well, she's in that phase now.
So I'm being defensive of it because I think that she's wise beyond her years, and that the way she presented the transgender ideas was, in my opinion, brilliant. And she's. I don't know if I follow her as a pop culture person, but she's really great.
Well, this bears the question that is on the top of my mind, and it continues to be with the Taylor Swift of it all, Chappell Roan. We are expecting way too much from these people that are singers.
Well, it's concerning.
It's extremely concerning.
It's concerning because what if one of them comes along and they're a complete whack job on this stuff? And we've seen it's already started.
Kanye West?
It's already, that would be a good example. Habib, whatever her name is.
Bella Hadid?
Yeah. That's problematical.
Right.
You know, you get somebody who's got a sort of an outsized listenership, an outsized microphone, for lack of a better way to explain it, and they say something that's, awful, and maybe it's because you don't happen to like it, or maybe it's just plain dangerous.
Right.
It's a little concerning, and I don't know. I don't have an answer. I can't unravel
we just need to
show.
Start, I think, really calming down with the parasocial relationships to these artists and these people, because the fact that Taylor Swift had to endorse a candidate continues to be ridiculous to me.
Right.
She's a singer. I don't follow her because I enjoy her political takes. Chappell Roan, the article the Washington Post says, singer Chappell Roan says she'll vote for Harris but won't endorse her. Who cares is my question.
Yeah,
Who cares?
Right.
I didn't listen to Pink Pony Club because I was like, Kamala supporter, like she's going to endorse her. Like the only people that matter who endorse a candidate for the presidential election should be parties and labor unions, maybe.
That's it. I mean, that's essentially how the system is supposed to work. If you want to endorse somebody, you go become a Democratic district leader and walk down your street, collect signatures, and then endorse them.
So
Veronica,
let me finish. It's like, should it be then that this is stupid because it's like, okay, so then is Charlie XCX out of the question because she's British? So should I just become like a British artist so that I don't have to endorse somebody and cause political strains? Like, please, like we really need to just like get back with the program and like let singers be singers.
And there's more to talk about on the political front. And here in New York, there's a lot going on. Let's unravel that one a little bit.
I don't know anything about this.
All right, I'll put a frame around it. Eric Adams is the mayor of New York City, and he is the first mayor in the history of New York to be indicted on federal charges. So the U.S. Attorney, Damian Williams, had a press conference this morning, and, I'm fast forwarding, but the explanation of it is allegedly the mayor was receiving what amounted to campaign contributions. They were travel favors. The mayor allegedly flew to Turkey and then flew to other countries. He visited various places using plane tickets that were provided by people connected with the Turkish government. And in exchange, the mayor allegedly arranged for a building that the Turkish government was constructing in Manhattan to have its FDNY building code approvals jammed through faster than they would have otherwise. I'm summarizing, but that's essentially what he's in big trouble for. Now, the questions loom as to whether he should resign. Is his mayoralty too chaotic? A number of people have left the administration. Mayoral appointees have left. There's all these questions about whether. Here's what I want to say about this thing. Again, I try to bring this show back to my own direct experiences. I met Eric Adams in person. I believe it must have been somewhere around 2009 or 2010.
Oh, wow.
He was a state senator at the time, and I met him at a brownstone in Harlem at a fundraiser for a charter school organization. And it was, one of these things in someone's house, and I was walking around the dining room table, one of those, what do they call those platters that your friend makes?
Charcuterie boards?
It was a charcuterie board where I met Eric Adams, yes. And I'm at the charcuterie board collecting the,
charcuterie,
thinly shaved ham and carrots and olives and all that. And I introduced myself, and he introduced himself. And I tried to mention the name of the only person I could think of that we have in common, which is another state senator. And we had a nice conversation about charter schools and New York City and Westchester. I mentioned that I was from Westchester. And I felt like this was a very affable, friendly, easy to talk to person who was actually paying attention to me. So what I'm saying to you is, right now, the mess that this mayor is in, I don't know if he can climb out of it, but he is asking New Yorkers to give him a little bit of room. He's asking people to say, don't convict me in the court of public opinion. Give me an opportunity to tell my story. And I honestly believe he more than deserves that. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with this. Okay.
That is not the take I thought you were going to have.
I'm telling you, it doesn't look good. Some of these things have to do with not only accepting the plane trip, but not disclosing the plane trip. So this process-oriented stuff, there are political reasons why indictments happen in the first place. There can be a political layer to anything, as we talk about on this show on a practically constant basis, right? So Eric Adams, if you're watching...
He's not watching this.
He could be. You never know. If you're watching, I am saying to you, sir, that I am not rushing to judgment. I want to hear what you have to say about this. I want to see this process unfold. To this point, he has cooperated with whatever the federal prosecutors wanted him to do. He has done. They wanted his cell phones 8 or 10 months ago. He gave up his cell phones. They used more cell phones. This morning at 6 o'clock a.m., the federal agents raided his Gracie Mansion, and they apparently confiscated more electronics.
Wait, so can I say something? He is a very unpopular mayor. I have not met one person that likes what he's done for the city.
I have.
Really?
I have. Well, first of all, New Yorkers are very tough. Okay.
Yeah. You know what? Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, the people that have actually said they don't like him, like, are they really New Yorkers?
Let me say this to you again. I shared my personal experiences where I met him in person.
Yeah.
But let me combine that with my perception of his public persona, and it interlocks totally with what I saw in person. You will not meet a person who is more of the people than Eric Adams. Like he can talk to anybody and be on their level.
Interesting.
He did that with me, and I've seen him do it with other people. He marches in the parades. He is a guy who
We actually saw him in a parade once.
listen. He was a police captain. Everybody knows his background and his story. He's the real deal. I mean, he's a kid from Queens. He went to public school. He's not an elitist. Now, as far as
Dad, I
yeah.
do not agree with you at all.
no, I don't see it. No, and then the thing is, as
You
far
don't
as
see it?
no, let me just say this. I don't know. It's very possible that laws were broken. The allegations are terrible that are against him. The disclosures is a problem. But campaign finance is a major issue. You need a lot of money that you have to raise on the national stage in order to have enough money to run for office at the level of a mayor of New York. And so I'm not saying that there's an excuse, but I'm saying let's put into context that you need millions of dollars to make that machine go. And maybe this is the way he thought he could have the resources to run a campaign. We're going to have to find out. Don't rush to judgment. Let's figure out what actually happened here. Is it possible that the FBI is using Damian Williams, the U.S. attorney, in some negative way? It's not outside the realm of possibility. Let's just wait and see. And the last thing I want to say about Eric Adams is, he's taken on some semi-unpopular positions with respect to the Biden administration because he's the one who raised his hand and said, U.S. government, we can't take on any more immigrants in New York City. You're bussing them in here, and we have no place to put them with dignity. And he raised his hand and said, enough is enough. And I think that position was not popular, and I am just a little uncomfortable that part of this narrative, and I heard it on the press conference this morning, is that the FDNY didn't like something the mayor was doing because he was trying to shove through a building permit. And I don't know, there's more than we can see on the surface.
This whole thing is extremely corrupt, and I think the worst part is, people are not even, the body is not even cold, and there's this part of this article that says, obviously, Adams is up for re-election next year, and people are already jumping in and saying they're going to run and run against him. Andrew Cuomo might be coming back.
AOC's had her eye on this for years.
Okay. Do you think AOC can be the mayor of Manhattan right now?
Yes.
Really?
Sure, because
Interesting.
Progressives have a very strong political position in New York City. Not only because of the numbers, but because they've got a lot of seats on the city council.
She was very calculated in what she said. It was very nice, actually.
Yep. She's gonna be like Ed Koch. Ed Koch was a 4-term mayor of New York City, I believe 4 terms, and he was a congressman before that. So this path has been worn before, and he was considered in that era they called it liberal. Today we call it progressive. But yeah, that's New York City, and so she does have the visibility, the celebrity, and the money to be successful at it. It could happen.
That would be exciting. We've never had a female mayor.
Correct, but I don't want to see Eric Adams stampeded out of office. I don't think that's right either. I think that there could also be a racial layer to this thing. But
Dad, if he, it's so hard because I don't know the specifics, and I'll look into it a little bit more. I know he's very unpopular, so there definitely is that playing in my head, which is somebody wants him out because it's politics at the end of the day.
That's the key thing. This all might be happening because somebody wants him out.
Somebody, obviously, that's obviously what's happening.
And that's not a reason.
All the things that they are saying that he's being indicted for
right.
are, I hate to be this type of person, politics.
Like, what's the big deal?
It's politics. It's
a building permit on one building.
No. I mean, I'm not saying what's the big deal. Like, it's not good. Like,
Right.
it's not good to accept money. It's not good to not follow the rules. But, you know, if there's a... I hate to say this. Sometimes you can turn a blind eye and be like, okay, you know what? That person made a mistake.
Yeah.
But obviously somebody doesn't like him.
Mhm.
It's so clear.
Yeah.
It's been so clear.
Yep.
Am I wrong?
No, we're going to find out more as the weeks unfold here. So
I'm
it's
like
going to be an
nervous
interesting
to
one.
say that. I'm like, I'm not in it.
We have to wait and see on this one. It's ugly.
Crazy week in New York judicial system.
You're quite right.
So yeah, that's our show.
That's our show for today. I think this was an interesting one, Veronica.
Yeah.
I'm glad we had this opportunity to talk to each other. I enjoy talking to you once a week on the show.
No, I was trying to shake your hand, but that was good too. All right, guys, if you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and share. We love coming to you every single week, and we're getting close to the election. So I believe next week is the vice presidential debate.
That's correct.
So we'll have that to talk about.
Follow, subscribe. And if you're listening on the podcast, click that button at the top and send us a message and tell us what you think. Should Eric Adams be convicted of the things that he's been accused of doing? We'd like to hear from you.
All right, guys, we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye, everybody.